Hi, my name's Steve Dolby,
I'm Matt Summers.
and this is WhiskyAtEase.
Chill.
Hey, Marine!
Hey.
Welcome to WhiskyAtEase, episode
Yes.
2.
Journey 2, episode 2.
Odyssey, god darn it.
Your journey 2.
Exactly.
Tell everybody where we're at.
Super excited about this. So, our first episode of the second journey, so previous episode.
First episode of the second jet. Unchilled, filtered. Last time we counted it.
We did, which was a staggering amount.
but the nose of a whiskey for me is...
Previous episode, we actually started in the Highlands of Scotland, where we actually tasted this one, which is the Deanston, and we taste the Deanston 12-year-old. Now, in WhiskyAtEase, we try to find links between different bottles, between different distilleries, between people within the distilleries. We try to link different whiskies together.
So it's not just a journey. We don't just drive from one to another then to taste whiskey. We have to be clever about it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you guys have to be clever too and try and work it out. So did you work out the connection between the Deanston and
Up to number 2, which is Bunnahabhain.
Bunnahabhain? And these have something linking them together.
Something is linking those two together. Okay, go ahead. Come on.
They've got the same barley in there.
No, they don't.
Oh,
They do have barley, but it's not going to be the
definitely the
same.
same.
No.
So one's from Islay and one's from
Highland.
Highland, yes, between Edinburgh and
Stirling,
Glasgow, actually. Yeah,
somewhere.
it's cool.
Yeah. Mhm.
Then they, what else is common between the two? Water. Yeah.
I love you, water.
Exactly. While they're both being distilled in their own location, in their own distilleries, a few hundred miles from each other, they're actually, so after you distill them, you put them in barrels to mature them, and then at some point you need to get them out of the barrel into these lovely bottles, and that is actually being done in the same bottling plant. But of course, when you pour them out of the cask, they're at cask strength, so around 60-65% of alcohol.
Yeah.
And to be able to sell them and to market them and to pay the least amount of taxes, you need to water them down to a 40-ish kind of percentage, because then you pay less taxes as a company in order to sell these.
So the same source of water
Same
is used
source
in
of
both
water.
bottles.
Exactly, to dial down the alcohol percentage
Okay.
for the two.
So, but it's kind of a bit of a cheat because it's not just the same water, it's because they're actually bottled in the same bottling plant.
Exactly, they're actually both owned by Burn Stewart's whiskey group, or Burn Stewart's distillery
Distillers.
group, and that's being owned by the Distel group, which is a big South African conglomerate. For example, a nice link to our previous journey, they also own the Tobermory distillery on the Isle of Man.
Yeah, and as part of our research, we were finding some of the decisions they take about chill filtering, because in our last episode we talked about Tobermory changing chilled filtering so that it was a better whiskey, but also because
around
it was
2010.
post-processed. And we find that as we start looking at these,
And
they
then
do the
Deanston
same.
said around 2010, oh, let's up the alcohol percentage to 46 and a bit, because then we can unchill filter these.
Surprise.
Surprise. And what did we learn? Bunnahabhain.
Around?
Around 2010, they
Funny.
said, what if we also do that? So they're all unchill filtered.
That
which
was
is-
such a coincidence.
Very weird.
But it's cool. So yeah, so they're connected by their
Yes.
parent companies, but we quite like the idea that it's the same source of water that's actually preparing them for the bottling.
Exactly.
So if you manage to get that one, well done. If you manage to link them together that way, because that was, when Marone came up with this journey, I went, wow, how did you put that together? But that's cool. And
Anyway.
in a funny kind of way, but it's not the same water, because if you remember our third journey, which we not going to get into in too much detail now, is a Japanese whiskey, but there's still a link to water. but it's not the connecting piece.
Anyway.
Anyway.
Bunnahabhain, one of my favorite whiskies in the world.
In the world.
Coming from my favorite island in the world, which is the island of Islay,
Yeah.
which is
Beautiful
the
place.
Hebrides.
Hebridean.
Hebrides. Exactly. And you probably, if you're into whiskey, you know about Islay. It's the home of Lafroig, it's the home of Lagavulin, of Ardbeg, heavy peat monsters that will
Make you smile.
yes, exactly. Yes, but that will explode in your mouth, and the peatiness, the parts per million are just the highest up the chart that you can get. Now Bunnahabhain, they're different. They're not peaty at all. So the regular 12-year-old, for example, no peated components. So they use water coming from a stream. They don't use peat to fire up the what do you call that?
To
Fire up the
malt.
yeah, the
barley.
malted stuff.
Yeah.
The stuff,
Smoke,
the
yeah.
barley, exactly.
The stuff. They
The
both
stuff.
have stuff. That's another
Yes,
thing.
they have
Both
stuff.
whiskies have stuff in them.
Exactly. They actually started 1881. Have a nice age label here as well. While in the literature and even on the back of the bottle, it says that they opened up in 1883. But nobody's old enough to remember those things. So they're actually more than 100 years old. Although they closed a few times during the years.
Like every other distillery in the world.
Exactly. So they closed between 1930 and 1937. They closed between 82 and 84. But then they actually said, oh, but we started at 1883. So that means that we're 100 years old. So let's start up again.
I find it really interesting when a distillery closes. So they've got whiskey in barrels.
Yeah.
All right?
What do you do with
Yeah.
that?
Does somebody go,
exactly.
I think I'll take that home and put that in the shed, and then
Yes.
somebody says, now we're going to open again, so better bring that back.
Aw.
But
How do you
seriously,
bring that back? Do you just roll them over the streets?
So do they actually mean they closed, or do they mean they just stopped distilling spirit? Maybe. I'm
Maybe.
surmising.
Yes.
Because I keep thinking, but those barrels, what the heck happens to them?
Exactly.
Hey, they're closing! Quick, bring the lorry! Yeah. take
Probably
those
somebody will still have them there. The name means the mouth of the water. So it's actually a place on the coastline of Islay. Pretty interesting drive if you want to go there. So you can take the boat to Islay, and then you go to Port Ellen or Port Escape, and then you have a really nice road going into Bomor and to all those things. But if you actually want to go to Bunnahabhain, you need to find some kind of really small dirty dirt road that goes out, and there's not really a big sign that
I
says
read
go
something
here.
about these signs, that they're odd, aren't they?
Yes, exactly. So you kind of need to know where you need to go.
It kind of says this way without telling you where you're going.
Exactly.
Or you're nearly there.
Yeah.
Is it, if you go at night time, is it kind of...
Oh no, I don't want to drive there in the
Spooky.
nighttime. That is just, it is crazy because it takes you up a winding road next to the cliff. So if you drive in the wrong way, you'll drop dead.
Beautiful.
And then you actually land there. So it's got a little bend, and then you actually it opens up before you. So it's beautiful to drive there. It's on the shoreline. You have the waves crashing into the docks. It's beautiful. You've got the best view of Islay on the paps of Jura. So I always say the best view that you have on Islay is on the mountains of Jura, which is the island next to it. And you've got the sound of Islay, which is the water flowing in between Jura and Islay.
Is it true that
Beautiful.
most of the whiskey that leaves the distillery goes by boat?
Well, yes, because there's no road to go there. But they always had a dock at the distillery itself. They closed that dock down 20 years or 30 years ago. I've got no idea when. But they closed it down, and now they just take the lorries that take that little dirt road. I don't want to be a lorry driver there, but it's just amazing.
Maybe
Super friendly people. They've got an awesome shop as well. Super friendly people, and they a few years ago, I think 2 or 3 years ago, they actually remodeled that shop a little bit. So now you've got a really nice outdoor area where you can also like go and sit, and it's beautiful. Also, when you drive to Bunnahabhain, you now also come via the new distillery Ardnaho that has opened up. They started distilling around 3 years ago. No, that's not this one. That's a different one. That's a different one. But Arnaho, so they should be releasing their first one maybe as well, like this year, next year, something like that. So that is, it's beautiful. The people that founded Bunnahabhain 130 years ago, they were both very experienced people. They knew already what they were doing. One of them, William Robertson, used to be an agent at Lefroy, so he was already in the know. And then you had the Greenleaf brothers, and they already had the Isla Distillers company as well. A lot of it has been used for blend whiskies. So in the 70s, it was mainly used for famous grouse, but now since a number of years they have their own range as well, again their own single malt whiskies. Cool. So I'm really looking forward to it. I love the bottles. I love this little sailor guy, he's whistling home. So yeah, this really reminds me kind of the boat life, the pirate life, because it's also like a bottle that you can hang on to. So I always think of my Jack Sparrow or whatever just swirling around with a bottle of this in his hand.
It's amazing being inside your head, isn't it?
It is. It's an adventure every day. Needless to say, I just love these people. I love their marketing. I love how they do things. I've been there a few years ago, and I would definitely love to get back there.
Lorraine loves this place. I should probably get the idea.
Now, let's open this one up and let's do a little taste.
Glasses.
We need glasses. So we are tasting the 12-year-old, the default, let's say. They also have an 18-year-old and a 25-year-old. They are also now always out there. And because of the dark color, yeah, we can't see what the color of the whiskey is. But if we take a look at that, you can definitely see we've got more of a golden hue. If you
think so.
Compare that with the Deanston, this was more of an amber color. This is more of a golden.
And they're so different.
They are so different. They are nothing alike. Absolutely. So you definitely get that. This had much more sherry as well. It had more sherry cask in there. So you definitely get a lot of that in there.
It's a lot more fruitiness than this. You can take it on the nose.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And it smells super smooth as well. Super fruity.
It's a lot warmer in terms of the feeling the whiskey gives you.
Mm-hmm. Very heavily bodied as well, because of it being unchill filtered. It's got a nice body. All the oils still remain in the whiskey. Good mouthfeel.
It's lovely. It's not peated, as you say, but you kind of don't miss that, and we both love peated whiskies.
Yes.
In terms of where we're going, I never understand people that don't like peated whiskies.
No.
I've got a few friends that go, I won't go there, but but it's such a warm. But it has got a great warming feeling on the back of the tongue, and the finish on this is, it's Titanic. It really is very nice. It goes on and on, and it's changing. A lot more lemon on that aftertaste and that finish, and the sherry's not overpowering.
It's not, but it is very present, but it's not overpowering.
That's what adds the warmth to the whiskey.
Exactly. Sweet sherry. So in terms of smoothness, definitely go towards kind of a 6 on our scale. If we thought you were gonna say something profound.
No, I wasn't going to say anything because I really was enjoying that too much.
Okay.
I was kind of just enjoying the friendliness of this whiskey. It's kind of a big hug. It is one of those go-tos, and I don't normally have a bottle. I know you brought this along, but no, it's a very friendly, really very accommodating. As you say, it's quite smooth, but without being, it's got a touch of spiciness in there, but that smoothness is overlying everything. The maturity, maturation is where the hint of sherry comes in, which is lovely. So I'm guessing on our scale it'll be an 8 in terms of maturation, and a 6, as we've said, for smoothness. Fruitiness is present.
Yes, definitely.
It's not overly salty, or we don't sort of taste any of that stuff. So definitely some fruit there, but without it getting to the stewed fruit stage, you know. Without
it stays fresh.
It is fresh is a great word.
Yes.
Peatedness, zilch, except that I kind of did notice it on the nose, but not really as a peatedness, but I guess it's that warmth.
That smoky note somewhere lingering.
But it's still one. You couldn't really call it a peated whiskey.
No.
But the finish I really like. That's one of my favourite things about this. I think it's a 7. Definitely a 7 in my mind.
At least a 7.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's not the greatest finish in the world. But that's because of the peatedness. I think once you get a peated whiskey, the finish is always better on a peated whiskey.
I know what you're trying to say. And even the people at Bunnahabhain, they also know what you want to say. So that's why they also make a peated whiskey.
You just said they don't do a peated whiskey.
They do, but it's not their main whiskey. I just happen to have one here with me.
Okay, now this is where the fun comes in, okay? He's now going to try and pronounce it, and I don't know whether he's going to get it right the first time. Here we go. So it's Bunnahabhain.
It's Bunnahabhain. Totich da.
Totich da.
Yes.
It's from Star Trek, isn't it?
Probably.
That's the Klingon word for peated.
For peated whiskey that will grab you by the balls. Exactly.
That is how the Klingon lures a mate.
Do we want to rinse out the glasses a little bit?
Yeah,
just
why not?
a little water in there to not confuse our palate.
Now this is not really on our journey.
This is not on our journey. This is a little style.
This is what the hell.
Yes, exactly. You know? We did that last time as well with the leche.
We did. Yeah.
So why not? So this is the Tochi Ada, which means the second peaty one.
Second peaty one.
Exactly. Because they did a first peaty one, the Totich. They actually made a second one, a sequel, and this one has more sherry and still got those peated notes as well.
Coming to a cinema near you in 2022 is Tokich A3.
3. So
cheers,
let's see how they can still contain that typical Bunna flavor, but then adding peat in it. Yes. So on the nose, you directly, immediately, overwhelmingly get
smoke.
Exactly. It's
in fact, let's see whether you can see the signals.
Yes, exactly. So it kind of looks like this was stored in a fireplace for hundreds of years, something like that. You get overwhelming amounts of smoke.
But you lose the warmth. That's interesting. It's a very clean smoke. It's a very distinct smoke. It's precise.
Yeah. Yes.
As opposed to that sort of fireside peatedness.
Sure. And you also get a lot of that iodine, a lot of that sea salt, sea wordiness. It's all there as well.
But it is a whiskey I could just sit there and...
Yes. To me, it also adds a lot of depth to the flavor.
The thing about the nose of a whiskey, it is about the entree, you know, to take you to the main course.
Yeah.
And that's why I like it so much, to sort of see where the differences are, prepare my palate, prepare my senses. And that, I think, is potentially why peatedness is so important to me.
Yeah.
In a whiskey.
Done.
Wow, that is smooth.
Smooth, yes.
Oh, and the finish is barbecue to start off with, just a hint of sweetness. And then the smoke.
Sausage on the barbecue.
Sausage on the barbecue.
Yes.
Not just barbecue.
Not just barbecue,
sausage.
Yes.
Without the chili in it. Just plain
salami. Yeah.
It's interesting. It still has the essence of a Bunnahabhain.
Of a Bunna, yes.
Bunna, yeah, we decided Bunna because I'm terrible at these names. But the finish on this is just amazing. Now I have another question, but based on the fact that you should never ask a question unless you know the answer, So, Moraine, do you actually have another Bunnahabhain?
Oh, well, okay.
Just to compare.
Okay, if we really want to compare, we've also got this one, which is the Bunnahabhain Sterreder, which means the helmsman.
They make a nice set, don't they? They make a great set. Different coloured labels,
yes,
and everything else. But you fed them me in the wrong order, didn't you?
I know. We should have had this as a second one and not the peated one in between, because that peaty smoke is just
it's still here. I can still taste it.
Yes, it's gonna kill much of the sound.
But that's
of
okay.
the
But
smell.
we were talking about peated whiskey, so it made sense.
Exactly.
Cool.
So let's have a little taste of this one. So this no age statement, just like the Dotich da. No age statement.
It really does sound like Klingon. I'm sorry,
Yes.
it does.
And this is more.
This is nearly empty.
Yes, that as
You
well.
like this one, don't you?
Yes. So it's got more sherry in it, but this is also more of that sickly sweet that we know.
I will try and like it.
You don't have to. If you don't like it, it's perfectly fine.
So we're back
but
to that
it's-
kind of bourbon on the nose again from.
Yeah, that as well. But as I said, lots of sherry, definitely in the mouth.
But it's not overly sweet on the nose. Again, it's one of those that kind of says, "Hey, you're not going to get what you can smell."
This is very closed on the nose.
Mm.
Yeah, exactly.
Just a hint of peach there, maybe. Here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, as soon as it
See
hits
what I
your
mean?
tongue.
It goes all the way to the sherry.
But it's not that strong Oloroso kind of sherry, is it? That sweet sherry. It's very much a little more refined than that.
It is still warm sherry.
It
But
is.
it's got that seaside iodine flavor in there as well. So yeah,
I like that.
they're all very distinct flavors. You can definitely tell each one apart.
You can.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
So there we go. Part 2 of our journey. This time we basically moved to the left, to the north, the west of Scotland, from the centre of Scotland between Aberdeen and Glasgow, just outside Stirling. Went to the island of Islay, to this wonderful distillery, Bunnahabhain or Bunna, and we tasted this wonderful 12-year-old. But don't tell anybody else, but we did do 2 others as well, but we'll just keep those between. That was cool. That was a journey. I know this is one of your favourite distilleries.
That was a brilliant step, and I'm pretty sure that in the upcoming journeys we will touch on Islay again. Pretty sure about that.
We might do it. It seems to be
Yeah.
the centre of our whiskey universe. There's
Exactly,
no doubt about
definitely about mine. So yeah.
that. And, you know, I couldn't tell that it was the same water between, the
No.
Deanston
No.
and the...
Maybe
Bunna.
for our next step we need to put some more distance between this one and our next step.
Well, funny you should say that, because we're going to go to Japan. Kaya, see you on episode 2.
Cheers.